The alarm started as a soft beep. Then it grew louder. Commander Taemin looked up from his screen at the border station's control room. Around him, the alien crew barely moved. They had heard this alarm 1,000 times before. "Unknown vessel detected," the computer announced in its flat voice. "Distance 40 million kilometers. Heading? Direct approach to station." Taemin watched the dot appear on the main display. It was small, alone, moving steadily toward them. Station Epsilon 7 sat at the edge of known space, where the Velcrin Empire's territory ended and the empty darkness began. Ships came from that darkness sometimes. They were always trouble. "Should I respond, Commander?" Hana's voice came through his earpiece. She sat 3 rooms away in the communications center. She was one of only 3 humans working on this massive station. Taemin was the second. Daejung, down in engineering, was the third. "Follow standard protocol," Taemin replied. He leaned back in his chair. The Velcrin officers around him were already returning to their work. To them, this was nothing special. Hana activated the automated warning system. The station began broadcasting in 47 different languages. The message was simple. "You are approaching Galactic Council territory. Identify yourself immediately. Reduce speed and prepare for inspection. Failure to comply will result in defensive action." Taemin waited. The unknown ship continued forward. No response came. "Broadcasting second warning," Hana said. Her voice carried a hint of concern now. The ship did not slow down. It did not change course. The dot on the screen moved closer with mechanical precision. Station Commander Velthar entered the control room. He was tall, even for a Velcrin. His skin had the blue-gray color of old metal. His forearms moved with casual grace as he reviewed the displays. He had commanded this station for 60 years. In that time, he had seen hundreds of ships approach from deep space. They always turned back. Always. "Fire warning shots," Velthar ordered. His voice was calm, almost bored. The station's defensive guns swiveled. Bright bolts of energy shot across space. They were calculated to miss the ship by a safe distance. "Just a warning, just a show of force." The unknown vessel kept coming. "Direct hit on forward shields," reported one of the Velcrin tactical officers. "No damage. Ship is not responding to warnings." Not changing course. Now Velthar's expression changed. His eyes narrowed. He moved closer to the main display. "Increase power. Fire again, more shots." These ones were stronger. They struck the ship's shields and made them glow bright white. For a moment the ship seemed to shudder. Then it continued forward. Taemin stood up. Something was wrong. Ships that came from deep space were usually pirates or smugglers. They ran when fired upon. They always ran. This ship was different. "Hana, are you getting any signals from that vessel?" he asked. "Nothing on standard frequencies," she replied. "Wait. There's something. It's very faint. Old-style radio transmission. I'm trying to clean it up." Taemin moved to a secondary console and pulled up the ship's sensor data. The readings made him frown. The ship's energy signature was strange. The propulsion system was primitive. It used fusion drives, not quantum engines. That was technology from centuries ago. But the power output was massive. "Far more than such old technology should produce, Commander Velthar," Taemin said carefully. "I'm seeing unusual readings from that ship. Request permission to analyze further before escalating." Velthar turned his 4 eyes toward Taemin. "Your concern is noted, human. But protocol is clear. Unknown vessels that refuse to comply are treated as hostile." He turned to his weapons officer. "Prepare for full defensive barrage. Target their engines." "Sir, we don't know what that ship is carrying," Taemin pressed. "If we destroy it without—" "I have commanded this station for 60 years, Velthar interrupted. His voice was sharp now. "No ship ignores council warnings. No ship survives ignoring council warnings. This is how we maintain order." The weapons platforms around the station came alive. Dozens of guns turned toward the approaching vessel. Taemin felt his stomach tighten. He looked at the display again. The ship was still 12 hours away at its current speed. 12 hours to figure out what was happening. "Full barrage fire," Velthar commanded. Space lit up with weapons fire. Plasma bolts, kinetic missiles, and electromagnetic pulses all converged on the unknown ship. Through the sensors, Taemin watched the impact. The ship's shields flared brilliant white. Hull plating glowed orange, then yellow, then white-hot. Explosions rippled across the surface, but the ship did not stop. It did not explode. It pushed through the barrage like a swimmer pushing through waves. Damaged, yes. shields flickering. But still coming. The control room fell silent. Even Velthar stood frozen, staring at the display. "That's not possible," whispered one of the Velcrin officers. Taemin's mind raced. What kind of ship could survive that kind of attack? What kind of ship would choose to survive it? Any sane captain would have turned back after the first warning shot. This ship had absorbed enough firepower to destroy a small fleet. "I've got the signal cleaned up," Hana's voice cut through the silence. "Taemin, you need to hear this." She patched it through to the main speakers. Static filled the room. Then through the noise came a voice. It was speaking in Korean. Old Korean, the kind spoken on Earth 200 years ago. Colony ship Phoenix, seeking new home. Navigation systems damaged. Cannot change course. Repeat. Cannot change course. The message repeated, over and over. The same words. A recording. Automatic. Ancient Taemin felt his blood turn cold. He knew what this was now. He knew what was coming toward them. It was not a pirate ship. It was not a raider. It was something far more tragic, Commander, he said quietly. That's a human generation ship. Velthar turned to him. Explain. Before humans had faster-than-light travel, we sent colony ships into deep space. They were meant to travel for centuries to reach distant stars. That ship, Taemin pointed at the display, that ship has been traveling for over 200 years. The people on board don't know humanity already reached the stars. They don't know we're here. Then why don't they respond to our warnings? Asked Velthar. The message says their navigation is damaged. They can't change course. They're locked on approach. Taemin moved closer to the display, and they've been in space for 2 centuries. Their systems are failing. They detected our energy signature and recognized advanced technology. They're coming to us for help. It's the only chance they have. Velthar studied the screen in silence. Finally, he spoke. If their navigation is damaged, they are a collision hazard. If they cannot stop, they cannot be allowed near the station. There are people on that ship, Taemin said. Human people. My people. And there are 15,000 beings on this station, Velthar replied. I will not risk them for a damaged ship that refuses to stop. The unknown vessel continued its approach. The damaged colony ship Phoenix, carrying the descendants of people who had left Earth when faster-than-light travel was just a dream. They had been traveling through the void for 200 years. They had survived the impossible. And now, after all that time, they were heading straight toward weapons that could turn them into dust. Taemin looked at the timer on his screen. 11 hours and 42 minutes until the Phoenix reached the station's inner defense perimeter. After that, Velthar would have no choice. He would destroy the ship to protect the station. 11 hours and 42 minutes to save 400 people who had no idea they were about to die. Taemin ran through the station corridors. His boots echoed on the metal floors. He needed to reach Daejung in engineering. They needed answers, and they needed them fast. The station was a massive structure. It took 5 minutes just to reach the engineering section. Taemin found Daejung bent over a holographic display, already working. The younger man looked up as Taemin entered. I heard the broadcast, Daejung said. A generation ship. I've been pulling up everything I can find about them. What can you tell me? Daejung gestured at the display. An image of the Phoenix rotated slowly. It was huge, nearly 2 kilometers long. The design was old but elegant. A cylinder with massive engines at the rear and a rotating habitat section in the middle. Generation ships were built between 2180 and 2210, Daejung explained. Earth was dying back then. Pollution, climate collapse, resource wars. Humanity thought we might not make it. So we built these ships and sent them out. 10,000 people per ship. Everything they needed to start a new colony. They were supposed to travel for 300 to 500 years. But we invented faster-than-light travel in 2220, Taemin said. Exactly. We went around them. We reached the stars faster than they could. Most of the generation ships were never heard from again. We assumed they either died or settled on distant worlds and just kept going. Taemin studied the image. Their systems are failing. After 200 years, nothing should still be working. That's what worries me, Daejung said. He pulled up another screen. Look at these sensor readings. The ship's power output is way too high for fusion engines this old. And there's something attached to the hull. Some kind of organic mass. I've never seen anything like it. Taemin leaned closer. The sensors showed a strange growth covering large sections of the Phoenix's outer hull. It glowed faintly. It pulsed like it was alive. What is that? I don't know. It's giving off energy. Low level, but constant. It's almost like it's feeding power into the ship. Before Taman could respond, Hana's voice came through the station-wide intercom. All senior officers to the control room immediately. They ran back together. When they arrived, the control room was full of Velkrin officers. Velthar stood at the center, his face grim. The council has been notified, Velthar announced. They have reviewed the situation. The approaching vessel has been classified as a potential biohazard threat. What? Taman stepped forward. How is it a biohazard? Velthar pointed at the display. The organic growth on the Phoenix's hull was highlighted. That unknown organism. We have analyzed it further. It is not in any council database. It is completely unknown. The Phoenix's warning message mentioned contamination. Galactic law is absolute on this matter. Unknown biological threats must be eliminated. They said contamination because they don't understand what it is, Taman argued. They've been in space for 200 years with no contact. Of course they'd warn about contamination. It does not matter what it means, Velthar interrupted. The law is clear. I have been authorized to destroy the vessel if it continues its approach. You're going to kill 400 people because of a law? I am going to protect 15,000 people on this station, and billions more in council space from a potential biological catastrophe. Yes. Velthar turned away. We have 6 hours until the Phoenix reaches firing range. If they do not stop or divert course, I will activate the main weapon. Taman felt anger rising in his chest. Give me time. Let me try to communicate with them. Let me find out what that organism is. You have 3 hours, Velthar said. Not a minute more. Taman rushed to the communications center where Hana was working. She looked exhausted. Screens surrounded her, all showing different signal analyses. I've been trying everything, she said. The Phoenix's communication array is barely working. They're broadcasting that automated message, but I can't establish two-way contact. Every time I try to send a signal, it just bounces back. Keep trying. We need to talk to them. We need to understand what's happening on that ship. Hana nodded and turned back to her work. Her fingers flew across the controls. She adjusted frequencies, boosted power, tried different protocols. Minutes turned into an hour. Then another. Wait, she said suddenly. I'm getting something. It's not the automated message. It's a live signal, weak but live. Put it through, the speakers crackled. Static filled the room. Then a voice came through. It was rough, tired, but human. Anyone there? Can anyone hear us? This is the Phoenix. We have been traveling for so long, please. We need help. Hana quickly adjusted the signal. Phoenix, this is Station Epsilon 7. We read you. Please identify yourself. Silence. More static. Then, station? There's a station out here. Thank God. Thank God. This is Captain Wu Jin of the colony ship Phoenix. We have been traveling for 214 years. Our systems are failing. We detected your energy signature 3 months ago. We changed course to reach you. Please, we need assistance. Taman grabbed a microphone. Captain Wu Jin, this is Commander Taman. I'm human, like you. But you need to stop your ship immediately. You are approaching a military border station. If you continue, they will destroy you. Another pause. Then Wu Jin's voice came back and it sounded broken. We can't stop. Our navigation computer locked up 5 years ago. We've been trying to fix it, but we don't have the parts. We can't change course. We can't slow down. We're locked on approach to your position. We detected advanced technology and we thought maybe you could help us. Hana looked at Taman with wide eyes. He felt his heart sink. Captain, there's something on your hull. An organic growth. What is it? You can see it? Wu Jin sounded surprised. We call it the Helper. We encountered it 50 years ago in deep space. Our reactor was failing. We were going to die. Then this thing attached itself to our hull. It started feeding energy into our systems. We don't understand it. We don't know where it came from. But it's kept us alive. Without it, we would have died decades ago. Is it dangerous? Taman asked. No, it's never hurt anyone. It's just there, growing, glowing, keeping us alive. We've tried to study it, but we don't have the equipment. We thought maybe your station could help us understand it. Taman looked at Hana. She was already working, recording everything. This information could save the Phoenix. If they could prove the organism wasn't dangerous. Captain Wu Jin, how many people are on your ship? 378. We started with 10,000. But 2 centuries in space, the captain's voice trailed off. So many didn't make it. But we survived. We kept going. We never gave up. And now we've found you. Please don't let us die when we're this close to being saved. Taman checked the time. 1 hour and 20 minutes left. He grabbed Hana's data and ran back to the control room. He found Daejung there, arguing with Velthar. The organism is symbiotic, Daejung was saying. It's not a parasite. It's helping them. That does not make it safe, Velthar replied. We don't know what it could do if it reached the station. I've spoken to their captain, Taimin said, pushing forward. The organism has been with them for 50 years. It's never harmed anyone. It's kept them alive. Without it, they would have died long ago. Velthar studied the data Taimin handed him. His expression remained cold. Symbiotic or not, it is unknown. It is not in council records. It represents an unacceptable risk, so you'll just kill them? I will do my duty. Taimin felt his hands clench into fists. Around them, the Velcrin officers watched silently. They agreed with their commander. They had to. It was protocol. It was the law. It was how the Galactic Council maintained safety. But it was wrong. It was murder dressed up in official language. The main weapon is charging, announced one of the officers. It will reach full power in 40 minutes. At that point, the Phoenix will be in range. On the main display, the colony ship grew larger. Taman could see it clearly now. The scarred hull, the flickering lights, the glowing organic growth that had saved those people. And inside, 378 humans who had spent their entire lives in that ship. People who had never seen a planet, who had been born in the void and lived in the void, people who had survived impossible odds. And in 40 minutes they would all die because they couldn't stop their ship, because they had asked for help, because an ancient law said unknown things must be destroyed. Taman looked at the display. At the Phoenix, at his people, he made a decision. Taman pulled Hana and Daejung into a side corridor. They needed privacy. What he was about to suggest could end all of their careers. Or worse, we need to stop that weapon from firing, he said quietly. Daejung's eyes widened. Taman, that's mutiny. That's treason against the Council. Those are our people on that ship. And there are 15,000 people on this station, Hana said, but her voice was uncertain. She was thinking about it. If the organism is dangerous, it's not, Taman insisted. It's kept them alive for 50 years. If it wanted to harm them, it would have done it already. We don't know that for sure, Daejung said. Maybe it's been waiting. Maybe it needs more hosts. We can't listen to yourself, Taman interrupted. You're making excuses to let them die. That ship has people on it, children probably, 4th and 5th generation colonists who have never done anything wrong. They sent out a distress call, and we're going to answer it by killing them. The corridor fell silent. Somewhere in the station, machinery hummed. Life support systems breathed. 15,000 beings went about their day, unaware that 3 humans were deciding whether to commit treason. What's your plan? Hana asked finally. Taman had been thinking about this since the moment Velthar ordered the weapon charged. The Phoenix can't stop because their navigation is locked. But if we could shut down their engines completely, the ship would just drift. It would pass by the station harmlessly. How do we shut down engines from here? Daejung asked. We don't. We do it from there. We board the Phoenix. Both of them stared at him. You want to board a ship that's about to be destroyed? Hana said. Well, it's moving toward a station that's going to fire at it. We use an emergency shuttle. We dock with the Phoenix. We get inside, shut down their engines manually, and then the ship drifts past. No collision, no threat, no reason to fire. Except Velthar will fire anyway, Daejung pointed out. Once that weapon is charged, the firing sequence can't be stopped. It's automated. Even if the Phoenix stops moving, the weapon will still fire. Taman had thought of that too. That's why we need to move fast. The weapon takes 40 minutes to charge. The Phoenix is 35 minutes away at current speed. If we can shut down their engines before the weapon fires, maybe Velthar will cancel the firing sequence. Maybe isn't good enough, Hana said. It's all we have. They stood in silence again. Taman could see them thinking, weighing options, weighing consequences. This wasn't a small decision. This was everything. Their careers, their freedom, possibly their lives. The Galactic Council did not forgive treason, but they were human. And humans on that ship were about to die. I'm in, Hana said quietly. Daejung closed his eyes. He was the youngest of them. Only 26. He had his whole life ahead of him. Taemin almost told him to stay behind, but before he could speak, Daejung nodded. Okay, I'm in too, but I'm staying here. You'll need someone on the station to help coordinate, and if this goes wrong, someone needs to tell Earth what happened. Taemin gripped his shoulder. Thank you. They moved quickly. Taemin and Hana headed for the shuttle bay. Daejung went to a secondary control room where he could access the systems without being noticed. They had 20 minutes before someone realized what they were doing. The shuttle bay was quiet. Most of the station's crew were at their posts, monitoring the Phoenix situation. Taemin and Hana reached Emergency Shuttle 7 without being seen. They climbed inside. Taemin started the pre-flight sequence. This is going to show up on every monitor in the station, Hana said. I know. We'll be halfway to the Phoenix before anyone can stop us. The shuttle powered up. Lights flickered on. The small craft held just enough room for 4 people and basic supplies. It wasn't meant for combat or long journeys. It was meant for evacuations. Today, it was meant for something else. Emergency Shuttle 7, you are not cleared for launch. A voice came over the radio. Power down immediately. Taemin ignored it. He engaged the engines. The shuttle lifted off the deck and moved toward the airlock. Behind them, alarms began to sound. Red lights flashed. But the shuttle was already in the airlock cycle. Once that started, it couldn't be stopped without depressurizing the entire bay. Shuttle 7, this is Commander Velthar. Stop immediately. That is an order. Sorry, Commander, Taemin said into the radio. Can't do that. The outer airlock opened. Space stretched before them, black and infinite, and in the distance the Phoenix grew larger every second. The ancient colony ship, scarred and damaged, wrapped in the glowing organism that had become its life support. Taemin pushed the throttle forward. The shuttle shot into space. Behind them, the station erupted in activity. Taemin could imagine Velthar's fury. The Velkrin commander would be trying to stop them, trying to override the shuttle's controls. But the emergency shuttles were designed to be independent. They had to be, in case the station's main systems failed during an evacuation. Phoenix, this is Shuttle 7 from Station Epsilon 7, Hana broadcast. We are approaching to dock. Prepare to receive us. Captain Wu Jin's voice came back, confused. Shuttle? Why are you launching a shuttle? We need you to help us stop. We're coming to you, Taemin said. We're going to shut down your engines manually. It's the only way to save you. Save us? What do you mean? The station is going to fire on you. They think the organism on your hull is dangerous. We have 20 minutes before their weapon is fully charged. If we can shut down your engines and make your ship drift past the station, maybe they won't fire. Silence. Then you're risking your lives for us? But you don't even know us. You're human, Taemin said simply. That's enough. The shuttle crossed the distance quickly. Space battles always looked slow in movies, but real space was fast. The Phoenix rushed toward them. Taemin could see it clearly now. The ship was massive, damaged in 1,000 places. Hull plates were missing. Windows were dark, but light still glowed in some sections. Life still existed there. The organic growth covered nearly a third of the hull. It pulsed with soft blue-green light. Up close, it was beautiful in a strange way. Like coral on an ocean reef, but in space. Looking for a docking port, Hana said, scanning the hull. Most of them are sealed or damaged. Wait, there. Section 7B, the airlock is still functional. Taemin adjusted course. The shuttle moved alongside the Phoenix. The colony ship was moving fast, but so were they. Matching velocity. Matching course. The docking port grew closer. 30 seconds, Hana said. Phoenix, we're coming in. Open the docking port. Opening now, Wu Jin replied. The docking clamps engaged. Metal screeched against metal. The shuttle shook. Then with a solid thunk, they were connected. Taemin shut down the engines. They were now moving with the Phoenix, traveling at the same speed toward the station. We're on, Hana said. Daejung, you reading this? Daejung's voice crackled through. I read you. The station is going crazy. Velthar is furious. He's trying to abort the weapon firing sequence, but the system is locked. Once it's charged, it has to fire. That's the safety protocol. If it doesn't discharge, the energy could destroy the station. How much time? Taemin asked. 16 minutes until full charge. Then the weapon fires automatically. Taemin and Hana moved to the airlock. They had portable environment suits, basic tools, and a single EMP device that Daejung had provided. If they could place the EMP in the right spot, It would shut down the Phoenix's engines instantly. The airlock cycled open. Beyond it stood a man. He was thin, worn, with gray hair and tired eyes. But he stood straight, proud. This was Captain Wu Jin. Behind him stood others. Crew members. And a young girl, maybe 10 years old, holding Wu Jin's hand. She stared at Taemin and Hana with wide eyes. "You came," Wu Jin said. His voice was thick with emotion. "You actually came. We need to move," Taemin said. "Where's your engine room?" "This way. Follow me." They ran through the Phoenix's corridors. The ship was like a museum. Everything was old, mechanical. Buttons and switches instead of touchscreens. Physical gauges instead of holograms. And everywhere signs of age. Rust. Wear. Patches over patches. This ship had been dying by inches for decades, but it was still alive. Still moving. Still carrying its people toward hope. "How many are on board?" Hana asked as they ran. 378, Wu Jin said. "We've lost so many over the years, disease, accidents, old age. But we survived. We kept going. My great-great-grandfather was the original captain. He started this journey. Now I'm continuing it." They reached the engine room. It was huge, filled with machinery that hummed and rattled. The fusion reactor glowed in its containment field. Around it, crew members worked desperately, trying to maintain systems that should have failed years ago. A woman looked up as they entered. Her face was smudged with grease. "Captain? Who are these people?" "They're here to help us, Sumi," Wu Jin said. "Help us how?" Sumi asked. "Unless they can fix a navigation computer that's been broken for 5 years, I don't see how." "We're going to shut down your engines," Taemin said. He held up the EMP device. "This will send an electromagnetic pulse through your systems. It will shut everything down. The ship will go dead and drift. That will save us?" Sumi looked skeptical. "It's the only chance we have." 14 minutes left. Sumi stared at the EMP device in Taemin's hand. "If you shut down everything, we lose life support. We lose gravity. We lose heat. How long until we freeze to death?" "Your emergency batteries will keep basic systems running," Taemin said. He hoped he was right. He had studied the old generation ship designs on the way over. The batteries were supposed to last for 72 hours. But that was when the ship was new. After 200 years, who knew? "Daejung," Hana said into her communicator. "We need you to walk us through this." "Where exactly does the EMP need to be placed?" Daejung's voice came through, strained. "The reactor control junction. It's a black box about 1 meter square, usually mounted on the starboard side of the reactor containment. If you place the EMP there and activate it, the pulse will propagate through the entire power grid and shut everything down." Sumi pointed across the engine room. "That's it." "Behind that panel." Taemin and Hana ran over. The panel was held in place by old-fashioned bolts. Hana pulled out a wrench from her kit and started loosening them. Taemin checked his timer. 12 minutes, how long to charge the EMP? He asked. 3 minutes, Daejung replied. But Taemin, there's a problem. The weapon is going to fire in 12 minutes. Even if you shut down the Phoenix's engines right now, you'll be drifting. The station is directly in your path. You're going to drift right past it. That's the point. We drift past, no collision, no threat. No, you don't understand. The weapon is locked on target. It will fire at the Phoenix regardless of whether you're moving or drifting. The firing solution is already calculated, and you'll be on that ship when the weapon fires. Taemin's hand stopped. He looked at Hana. She had heard it too. They would be on the Phoenix when it was destroyed. They would die with everyone else. How long to get back to the shuttle? Taemin asked. From the engine room to the docking port? At least 15 minutes, Hana said quietly. They didn't have 15 minutes. They had 12. Captain Wu Jin was listening. His face had gone pale. You knew. You knew this would happen, and you came anyway. We had to try, Taemin said. The little girl, still holding Wu Jin's hand, spoke for the first time. Are we going to die? The question hung in the air. Around them, the Phoenix's engines rumbled. The fusion reactor glowed. 378 people lived in this ship. People who had been born here, grown up here, fallen in love here, had children here. People who had never seen a planet or felt natural sunlight. People who had spent their entire lives traveling toward a dream. And in 12 minutes they would all die. Hana removed the last bolt. The panel fell away. Behind it, the control junction gleamed. Taemin attached the EMP device. His hands were steady even though his heart was racing. Timon. Hana put her hand on his arm. We could run. Maybe we could make it back to the shuttle. If we leave right now and let them die, after we promised we'd save them? We tried. We did everything we could. It's not enough. Timon activated the EMP's charging sequence. A soft whine filled the air as the device powered up. 3 minutes. Then it would pulse. The Phoenix would go dark. The ship would drift past the station, and seconds later the station's weapon would fire and erase them all from existence. Wait, said Sumi suddenly. She was staring at a display panel. The organism, the helper. It's becoming more active. Timon looked where she was pointing. The organic growth on the hull was glowing brighter, pulsing faster. The sensor reading showed it was generating more energy than normal. It knows, Wu Jin whispered. Somehow it knows we're in danger. That's not possible, Hana said. It's just an organism. It can't think or understand. But even as she spoke, the readings spiked higher. The helper was pumping massive amounts of energy into the ship, more than it had ever done before. Daejung, Timon called. Are you seeing this? I'm seeing it. The organism it's like it's trying to protect the ship, but that doesn't make sense. How could it know? 10 minutes left. The EMP continued charging. 2 minutes to go. Timon looked around the engine room. At Sumi and her crew who had kept this ancient ship running through sheer determination. At Captain Wu Jin and his daughter, the latest in a long line of people who had refused to give up. At Hana, who had followed him into certain death because it was the right thing to do. This was humanity. Not the humanity that had invented faster-than-light travel and spread across the galaxy. The other humanity. The one that had faced impossible odds and kept going. The one that had built ships and launched into the void with no guarantee they would ever reach safety. The one that sent out warnings and kept coming anyway. I'm sorry, Timon said to Wu Jin. We tried. You did more than try, Wu Jin replied. You gave up your lives for us. That means something. That means everything. 8 minutes. The EMP device beeped. It was fully charged. Timon's hand hovered over the activation button. Once he pressed it, the Phoenix would go dark. They would drift. And then, do it, Wu Jin said. At least we'll drift past the station. At least we won't crash into them. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's all we were meant to do. Get this far. Show that humans can survive anything, even if we don't survive ourselves. Timon pressed the button. The pulse rippled outward. Invisible, silent, but devastating to electronics. Every system on the Phoenix shuddered and died. The lights went out. The engine stopped. The reactor shut down. Even the gravity failed and everyone began to float. In the darkness, only emergency lights glowed. Red, dim, enough to see faces but not much else. The ship was dead. 214 years of continuous operation ended in an instant. The Phoenix drifted now, momentum carrying it forward through space. No engines, no power, no life support. Just a metal shell with people inside floating through the void like it had for centuries. Daejung, Timon said into the communicator. He hoped it still worked. Emergency communicators were shielded against EMPs, but after everything else that had failed, he wasn't sure. I'm here, Daejung replied. His voice was tight. The Phoenix has stopped. You're on drift trajectory. You'll pass the station at a distance of 3 kilometers. Safe distance. But Timon, the weapon, it's at 95% charge. Velthar tried to stop it. He really did. But once it charges past 90%, it can't be stopped. Safety protocols lock it in. If it doesn't fire, the energy discharge will destroy the station. How long? Timon asked. He already knew the answer. He just needed to hear it. 4 minutes. Hana floated next to him in the darkness. She took his hand. Around them, the crew of the Phoenix gathered. 378 people who had survived the impossible. And now, having made it so far, they would fall at the final moment. I'm sorry, Timon said to all of them. I thought we could save you. You gave us hope, Wu Jin said. For a few minutes, we had hope. That's more than we've had in years. The little girl, Jiwan, was crying silently, floating in the darkness, holding her father's hand. She would never see Earth, never walk on a planet.
Never grow up.
Timon felt something break inside his chest. This was wrong. This was all wrong. They had come so far. They had survived so much. It couldn't end like this. 3 minutes. Through the viewports, Taemin could see the station. It was huge, brilliant with lights, a marvel of technology, and somewhere on that station a weapon was charging, preparing to fire, to destroy them all in the name of safety and protocol. The helper is still glowing, Sumi said. She was looking at a portable scanner that still worked on battery power. It's generating enormous amounts of energy, but there's nowhere for the energy to go. The ship is dead. Maybe it's trying to restart the reactor, someone suggested. The reactor is locked down. The EMP shut down all the safety systems. Even if the helper could generate enough power, it can't restart anything. 2 minutes. Taemin closed his eyes. He thought about Earth, about the sky, about his mother, who had been so proud when he joined the Galactic Council service, about all the things he would never do, all the places he would never see. He had chosen this. He had known the risks, but that didn't make it easier. Taemin, Daejung's voice was urgent. Something's happening. The organism, it's growing, fast, covering more of the hull. The energy readings are spiking. I've never seen anything like this. 1 minute. It's spreading to the shuttle, Hana said, looking out a viewport. I can see it. The glowing. It's reaching across the hull toward our shuttle. Taemin pushed off and floated to the window. He could see it too. The helper was spreading, growing, pulsing with light. It was beautiful, like watching a flower bloom, but in space. The organism flowed across the hull like water, covering more and more surface area. What's it doing? Wu Jin asked. 30 seconds. The weapon fired. A lance of pure energy tore across space, bright enough to hurt the eyes, hot enough to vaporize a planet. It moved at the speed of light, impossible to dodge, impossible to escape. It hit the Phoenix and the helper flared. The light was blinding. Taemin threw his arm across his eyes, but even through his closed eyelids he could see the brightness. The helper had spread across the entire hull of the Phoenix. Every square meter was covered in glowing, pulsing organic matter. And as the weapon's energy struck the ship, the helper absorbed it, not deflected, not blocked, absorbed. The energy that should have vaporized the Phoenix flowed into the organism like water into a sponge. The helper glowed brighter and brighter, shifting from blue-green to white to colors Taemin had never seen before, colors that shouldn't exist. The entire ship became a beacon in the darkness of space. Then, as suddenly as it started, it stopped. The weapon's energy was gone, used up, and the Phoenix remained intact. Damaged, yes. Darkened, yes. But whole. In the engine room, floating in zero gravity, no one spoke. They couldn't. What words existed for what they had just witnessed? Did that just happen? Hana whispered finally. Sumi was staring at her scanner, hands shaking. The helper absorbed the weapon strike. All of it. The energy is still in the organism. I can read it. The helper is holding the energy inside itself. That's not possible, Captain Wu Jin said. I know, but it happened. Taemin activated his communicator. Daejung, tell me you saw that. Daejung's voice came back, stunned. The entire station saw it. Every sensor recorded it. Taemin, that weapon could destroy a small moon, and the organism just absorbed it. The science team is going crazy. They're saying this is impossible. They're saying it breaks every law of physics we know. Can the station fire again? No, it takes 12 hours to recharge. But Velthar won't fire again anyway. He's calling for a ceasefire. He wants to study what just happened. Relief flooded through Taemin. They were alive. Against all odds, they were alive. He looked at Hana, and she was crying. Tears floated in the zero gravity, forming perfect spheres that drifted around her face. She was laughing and crying at the same time. Around them, the crew of the Phoenix began to realize they had survived. Voices rose. People hugged each other. Some cried. Some laughed. Some just floated in silence, unable to process what had happened. Jiwon, the little girl, pointed at the viewport. Look, it's pretty. The helper was still glowing, but softer now. Gentler. It pulsed in waves across the hull, and slowly, incredibly, power began to return to the ship. Lights flickered on. The gravity generators hummed back to life. Everyone drifted gently down to the floor. Systems that had been dead moments ago began to reboot. It's feeding power back into the ship, Sumi said, staring at her displays. The helper absorbed the weapon's energy, and now it's using that energy to restart our systems. It's saving us, again. The fusion reactor glowed back to life, not at full power, but enough. Life support kicked in. Fresh air began to circulate. The Phoenix was coming back from the dead. This is Station Epsilon 7 to the Phoenix. Velthar's voice came over the communicators. He sounded different, uncertain. We are standing down all weapons. We request permission to send support teams to assist you. Captain Wu Jin looked at Tae-min. Tae-min nodded. Wu Jin activated the response channel. Station, this is Captain Wu Jin of the colony ship Phoenix. Permission granted. We need medical supplies, repair materials, and food. We've been on rationing for 50 years. Understood. Teams are being prepared, Captain. What is that organism on your hull? Wu Jin smiled. We call it the Helper. We don't know where it came from. We don't know what it is. But it saved us 50 years ago, and it saved us again today. Maybe your scientists can help us understand it. Over the next hour, ships from the station docked with the Phoenix. Medical teams arrived first, bringing medicine and equipment that the Generation ship hadn't seen in decades. Then engineers came, carrying repair materials and replacement parts. Then supply shuttles loaded with food and water. Tae-min and Hana made their way back to their shuttle. They needed to return to the station. They needed to face Velthar. They had committed mutiny. There would be consequences. But before they left, Captain Wu Jin stopped them. Wait, I need to say something. You gave your lives for us. You didn't know if you would survive, but you came anyway. Why? Tae-min thought about how to answer. Finally, he said, because you're human. Because you left Earth 200 years ago with nothing but hope. Because you survived impossible odds. Because you heard every warning about how dangerous space is and you launched anyway. That's who we are. That's what humans do. We keep coming. Wu Jin's eyes filled with tears. He pulled Tae-min into a hug. Then Hana. Thank you. Thank you for not letting us die when we were so close to being saved. The shuttle journey back to the station was quiet. Tae-min and Hana held hands, watching the Phoenix through the viewport. The great colony ship now surrounded by support vessels. The Helper still glowed on the hull, pulsing gently, keeping its promise to the crew, keeping them alive. When they docked at the station, security was waiting. Velthar stood at the front, his forearms crossed. His expression was unreadable. Commander Tae-min. Specialist Hana. You committed mutiny. You disobeyed direct orders. You stole a shuttle and put yourselves in danger without authorization. These are serious crimes. Yes, sir, Tae-min said. We understand. The Galactic Council has been informed. They are sending investigators. There will be a formal inquiry. Velthar paused. Then unexpectedly his expression softened. But they are also sending scientists, biologists, engineers. Everyone wants to study the organism. What you call the Helper. It appears to be a new form of life. Symbiotic. Intelligent, perhaps. It could revolutionize how we understand space travel. What about the Phoenix crew? Hana asked. They have been granted asylum. The Council has agreed to let them settle on any human colony world they choose. Or they can stay on the Phoenix. The ship is being classified as a mobile habitat, a historical vessel. Many of the crew have said they don't want to leave. It's their home, Tae-min understood. After 200 years, the ship was more than metal and machinery. It was their entire world. What about us? He asked. Velthar looked at him for a long moment. I don't know. What you did was against regulations, but you saved 378 lives, and you helped us discover something extraordinary. The Council will decide your fate. 2 weeks later, Tae-min stood in a conference room. The Galactic Council had sent a representative, a human one, surprisingly, a woman named Ms. Ari, from Earth's diplomatic corps. She had reviewed all the records, watched all the recordings, interviewed everyone involved. Now she sat across from Tae-min, her expression serious. Commander, you understand that what you did sets a dangerous precedent. Officers cannot simply disobey orders when they disagree with them. That way lies chaos. I understand, ma'am. However, she paused. The Council recognizes that you acted to save lives, that the Phoenix crew was not a threat, and that your actions led to the discovery of an organism that could change space travel forever. The Helper has formed bonds with human volunteers. They report that it enhances their connection to their ships, makes them part of the vessel. Early studies suggest this could make long-distance space travel much safer. So what's the verdict? You and Specialist Hana are being transferred. You're being assigned to the Phoenix. Tae-min blinked. Ma'am? The Phoenix is being converted into a research vessel. It will study the Helper and other phenomena in deep space. It needs a crew with experience. Captain Wu Jin has requested that you join them. The Council has approved. And Daejung? He's being transferred as well. Chief Engineer of the Phoenix. Congratulations, Commander. You're all getting what you wanted. You get to help those people. You get to explore space. And you get to study something no one has ever seen before. Taemin felt something strange. It took him a moment to recognize it. Hope. 3 months later, the Phoenix departed from Station Epsilon 7. The old colony ship had been repaired and upgraded. New systems had been installed alongside the old ones. The crew now numbered 500, with volunteers from across human space joining the original colonists. Taemin stood on the bridge with Captain Wu Jin. Hana was at communications. Daejung was in engineering. And throughout the ship, the helper glowed softly, pulsing with life. Scientists were still studying it, learning from it. They had discovered it was not just one organism, but millions working together. A collective intelligence that had found the dying ship and decided to help. No one knew where it came from. No one knew why it helped. But it did. And in helping the Phoenix, it had created something new. A partnership between humans and an alien life form. Not conquest. Not domination, partnership. Ready to launch, Commander? Wu Jin asked. Ready, Captain. The Phoenix's engines ignited. Not just the old fusion drives, but new ones as well. Hybrid engines that combined human technology with the helper's energy. Together, they were more efficient than either could be alone. The ship moved forward away from the station toward deep space. Toward the unknown. Toward danger and discovery. Jiwon stood beside her father, pressing her hand against the wall. The helper glowed beneath her palm. She giggled. It likes me. It likes all of us, Wu Jin said. He looked at Taemin. 200 years ago, my ancestors left Earth because it was dying. They launched into space with no promise they would survive. They heard every warning.